I'm traveling again, but that does not matter because we got some Brawl Talk sneak peeks to get straight away into my favorite episode leading into any update. Dude, this is gonna be freaking epic. So I think we can all agree the sneak peeks leading into this update and the Brawl Talk, which is coming out tomorrow, make sure to keep in mind have been a little bit more cryptic than what we're normally used to with any other update. And I think it's obvious when you take a look at where we needed to go to find some of these sneak peeks with this update, because I believe we were on the right track with some of the sneak peek videos that we made just the last couple uploads. And let me tell you what, the sneak peeks for this Brawl Talk are no different. We've got some detective work to do, people. So of course, if you find this video useful, be sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure to stay tuned. We have plenty of juicy sneak peeks to get into here with these next upcoming days and a Brawl Talk breakdown coming out tomorrow. So unfortunately, as I'm traveling here, I'm not able to get into a few different important pieces of info that we're normally able to take a look at when it comes to this one day before juicy sneak peeks, the biggest sneak peeks whenever it comes to leading into any update. But we do have some of the most important pieces of content to get into here one day before the Brawl Talk, and that is the thumbnail, the insane sneak peek photo, and definitely a few other photos that have come out these last couple days leading into this day here that also have some connections that I find really interesting. So I don't want to waste any time. Let's get straight away into the thumbnail of this next Brawl Talk and basically what I'm expecting the title to be about here. Plain as day in writing, we have our boxes back. As we know in the podcast, the latest episode on the Brawl Stars channel, they had discussed one of the biggest sneak peeks coming our way when it comes to this update, and that was some form of gacha or something resembling that feeling that we were able to feel when opening up Brawl boxes and seeing a juicy 6 or a 7 in it. They want to capture that excitement and package it in a different way that isn't as harmful in the form of gacha. So seeing that they're advertising it being like our boxes back, not really indicating that they are back, but something in that ballpark is really interesting and coming out in this update. So very interested to see what that's all about. But I don't think we have any other info in regards to boxes or gacha other than this text here. But with that out of the way, of course, we need to get straight away into the silhouette on this Brawl Talk, which we haven't had a brawler silhouette these last few updates, which it's a nice breath of fresh air if you ask me. So as we discussed in a recent episode here on the channel, we have confirmation that there's going to be 2 new brawlers coming out with this update. I'm speculating one is going to be fitting into the Buzz trio finally, but then the second one I'm not sure what family it's going to fit into, but we took a deep dive into some really interesting connections involving Greek mythology and the Greek god Hephaestus, which has several connections to volcano and insane craftsmanship and anything creative, much like blacksmithing, weaponry, relationships to fire, which is really interesting when we take a look at some of the other juicy details that are coming in this photo here and the silhouette itself. So to help explain the new brawler thumbnail, I think it's first important to take away a few different pieces of context from photos that came out here recently, including the juiciest sneak peek photo before we take a very deep dive into this later on in the video. So this photo here came out a few days ago now at the point that I'm recording this video, and there are definitely a lot of really awesome sneak peeks here and reoccurring things that have some importance in this next update. The very first one, of course, taking the center stage of the photo, if you ask me, these glowing mushrooms. I believe helping to grow these mushrooms on this deserted island that the brawlers are on are these spore plants raining down these particles here, which I believe were kind of sneak peeked to us in this photo that came out with the sneak peeks coming out with the last update, with the interesting purple plant life and viney stuff going on in the background. Super peculiar. But another really important thing that is now popping up a few different times is this birdhouse here and just birds in general. Key element number 3 in this sneak peek photo I think can be seen here. I've seen a lot of speculation in the community, people thinking that this is a cocoon of a caterpillar brawler turning into a butterfly, but we have some other interesting aspects, much like a few different character skins from this most recent update looking puzzled there, maybe looking at the volcano in the background, who the heck knows. And then the final thing I noticed that I think is going to be a little bit important is this rock with what seems like a face in the background, dude. Before we get into the deeper nitty-gritty of this sneak peek photo, I think it's important to point out some reoccurring things that came up with the juiciest sneak peek photo here today. We have the birdhouse once again. I think potentially an occupant of that birdhouse here or something just fitting the vibe. As I said before, I believe pirates are going to have a key element within this update, and seeing that this seems to be a bird that would fit on a captain's shoulder quite nicely and the scar on its eye, I think it fits nicely. While on top of that, we see a pirate hat back here that is screaming new skin vibes or sneak peeks from this photo. But before we get any deeper into this photo, I think it's important to point out the context itself. Guys, I believe we are making our way into the volcano itself. It's hard to imagine any other explanation as to why we are headed into this deep vertical pit of redness there at the bottom. So guys, hey, I think we might have been right on some volcano aspects in our sneak peeks leading into this Brawl talk here today. Whether or not it's going to have any dealings with a brawler much like Hephaestus, only time will tell on that front, but either way, it's incredibly interesting. But then the final detail I want to point out that is going to give us a bit of context, I think, with the silhouette is this mushroom with eyes in the background, which there's a few other eyes back there, but this one a little bit more prominent, seeing that it has some angry eye stuff going on here, a little bit more personality than the other ones. Of course, there are a few other things that we need to discuss about this photo, which again, we will be doing later on in this video here today. But first, I want to get into the breakdown of this silhouette here with what we already know with the sneak peeks. So first things first, I'm seeing two different interesting elements that I think are matching up from other elements from the sneak peek photos. The very first thing that's standing out to me is the shape of this new brawler's silhouetted head here. It's got some strange protrusions. Of course, this could be chalked up to an article of clothing, much like a hat, or maybe some hair protrusions there, but I can't be the only one that's getting some like mushroom vibes here, seeing that we have so much mushrooms, glowing blue mushrooms here with the sneak peek photos. Possibly it has some relationships with this new brawler. Maybe a mushroom-headed character, who the heck knows. It's really interesting. Truly, there's really only so much that you can get out of a brawler silhouette, but another key element that I'm seeing from this brawler is draped on the back here, whether it's a cloak, a cape of some sort, or another thing that I think is really interesting is it could be some wings. It's definitely a bit on the smaller side of things if they are indeed wings for this brawler, but with the different sneak peeks in regards to birds, two different birdhouses in two different photos, and even an actual bird that we can see pop up here, I think it might be a fun theory to point out. But I think next it's important to piece out probably the most interesting piece of detail from this silhouette, and that is, I'm guessing, the weapon this new brawler is going to be using. It almost resembles like a ninja throwing star, but maybe not so much like the traditional one, because there's no like circle in the middle of the silhouette where there would be like a finger hole for. It's just a straight up blacked out silhouette. So I'm thinking it has something similar to that, which would be really, really cool for some mechanics for this brand new brawler, but truly only time will tell when it comes to what that's all about. But lastly, all that we really can piece out from this silhouette is that this character is a little bit more on the smaller side of things. It looks like a pretty miniature brawler, and I'm envisioning like a mini ninja-esque brawler with a big mushroom head on or something like that. I know silhouettes can be a little bit tricky when it comes to messing around with your mind and stuff like that, but it's always fun to try to give a go at what it might be like, the new brawler around the corner. But next up, I want to take a deep dive into this photo here. Anything else that we can piece together about new brawlers as well as new skins and the environment coming around the corner here. So first things first, I want to point out that a lot of the time when it comes to these sneak peek photos one day before the Brawl talk, we get a lot of info about the new brawlers coming around the corner, and I think this time around is no different. I'm thinking the very first brawler sneak peek, it's just giving me a gut feeling, is coming from this cocoon up here, almost as if we're not getting the full details of the brand new Brawler, but it's going to hatch in a few days for the Brawl Talk when it does come. This is also giving me like the Buzz family vibes for a brand new Brawler, but I could be wrong about that. There's really just no other explanation or context for this cocoon chilling on this tree, so we'll have to wait and see, but it's giving me new Brawler vibes. And then finally, the second Brawler I believe being sneak peeked here is this little dude with the different eyes compared to the other things around him. I think this very well could be the Brawler in the thumbnail. Maybe that mushroom head, and he's hiding away knowing that he's getting looked at, and seeing that he's in the middle of the photo, it's kind of making sense to me. But getting a general overall picture of the theme itself, it looks like we are headed straight down the mouth of the volcano here, as we can see some sparks going on down there, possibly just being another plant much like this, but we see this eerie red glow as if there's lava right at the very bottom of this volcano. So I really think we hit the nail on top of the head when it comes to this environment, or just the volcano has an important role within this update. But as you can see, there are plenty more objects that very well could be giving us further context of things coming out in this update. I think we've learned now when it comes to the big juicy sneak peek photo here that a lot of the elements and the foreign things most of the time are connected to new skins coming out. So we can see here it looks like a hat of some sort. I don't know, the very first thing that came to my mind is this could be Fang's hat. If I'm wrong, who knows, but this could be a Fang skin coming around the corner, or maybe an article of clothing for the new Brawler coming out. We have this giant iron metal arm down here that is incredibly similar to what Sam uses for his knuckle busters. Possibly Sam getting a brand new skin fitting into this weird new skin set that's giving me like people who are corrupted feelings, like these mushrooms poison them to some degree or to control them. We have the bird here, could be an homage to a new skin coming out, much like that Pirate Surge skin I was thinking, or even a skin for a brand new Brawler coming out, possibly like a tier 70 skin, which we've gotten sneak peeks about in the past. I'm reminded of Buster at one point. That Chainsaw Buster skin was sneak peeked in this type of photo here. We've got a pirate hat here. I think this is screaming skin as well, maybe that Pirate Surge again, or an existing Brawler in the game. We've got the birdhouse popping up here. I really think this has something to do with the overall theme, or just one of the new Brawlers coming out, seeing that it's now reoccurring on two separate occasions. We've got a corrupted bee, it looks like here. I think bee might be getting a brand new skin, but really looking at it much further than that, there's not much else to pull away from this photo when it comes to big glaring pieces of new content coming from it, other than just the overall interesting theme itself. I'd be really interested to hear what you guys have to say about this and what your thoughts are with the sneak peeks that you guys are able to see here today. But yeah, that's just about all I got for you guys here in this episode today. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to slap a like on it. I'd really appreciate it. But with that being said, have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Keep having fun with Brawl Stars, and we'll see you all in the next one. Adios and take care.